So, I mean, it can drastically change depending on the needs of your production. Everything here is customizable. So, while they are permanent structures in many ways, a lot of the details are temporary. So, we are going to go from small town to downtown right now. This is what we call New York Street. I love this street. So, the buildings here are about 50 feet high, but we build the street a little narrower than a real city street, which if you live in a city, you know. Has to have room for several lanes of traffic, plus parking lanes, bike lanes, all that kind of stuff. We don't have that here because this is for filming. So you want to send maybe one crane shot going down the street and get both sides of the street in a single shot. So it is built a little narrower than a real street. The buildings are made out of wood, plastic, and plaster. That's the three main materials here. So no real brick, no real stone, because that's not flexible, right? So we can peel it off, or we can reshape the plaster and make it into anything you want. You want to make everything here look metallic? Sure, let's do it. We did a series here called Colony that was kind of a post-apocalyptic alien invasion show with Josh Holloway, and they had this look very post-apocalyptic, alien walls everywhere. The light poles, if you notice at the bottom, have plugs in them, and they can move. All the square panels you see in the sidewalks house outlets. Same thing with the traffic signals. Keep in mind this can play anywhere in the world as well. One of the shows we've been using this a lot for is Quantum Leap. Raymond Lee and Ernie Hudson, of course, in our new Quantum Leap. So many episodes in their first season were done right here on New York Street. It's played so many different cities in so many different decades, which is always fun to see. When we have to do a different time period, it's really fun. We got to think about all the details, right? So you might have to cover the road in dirt. Might have to bring horses out here. If it is a time with vehicles, well, you're going to have to get the right kind of picture car. If it's in the 60s, they're going to be driving cars from the 60s. If it's in even the 90s or early 2000s, well, we got to go find cars from those decades. Obviously, we can use digital effects to enhance the set. A lot of times here, it's used to make the buildings look taller. Marvel did Amazing Spider-Man here with Andrew Garfield, and I remember when they were here, they covered a lot of the buildings with green screen. So they literally draped green screen over half of the buildings. Because if you watch the movie, they look a lot taller, but a lot of the big scenes where Spider-Man is unmasked by Dennis Leary's character, that's all done on the street that we're on here. The other thing, also we can add in famous landmarks. Billie Eilish did a big music video montage here in 2021, and they wanted it to look like Paris. So we added in a digital Eiffel Tower at the end of the street. And they made it look beautiful. So yeah, we're often combining practical and digital to kind of bring this set to life. Obviously though, you gotta think about everything. There we go. This is a little shot from Changeling that shot on this street. So that's an aerial shot of New York Street, actually. So remember, they brought in actual streetcars that were replicas of the old 1920 streetcars we used to have here in LA. Really cool movie to have here, directed by Clint Eastwood. Seabiscuit filmed here. It filmed mostly in our Western sets, which we'll see a little bit later. King Kong, they filmed that in New Zealand, but the first story or so was practical. Everything else after that was digital effect. Obviously, our actors have to fit seamlessly into the vision, the art direction, so they gotta have costume, hair, and makeup all in line with what you're trying to create. Sometimes you're creating a more fanciful version of something, like we did the movie Dick Tracy here. And so everything was painted red and blue and all these bright comic book colors, and everything was kind of extreme for that. We did maybe a more realistic version of it in the Marvel series Agent Carter that also filmed here. So this was all the 1940s for that. Signals to the audience that we're in a different time period. Music. Quantum Leap uses music really well in that series. But also things like a character's looking at a newspaper or a movie theater marquee. And you'll see several movie theater marquees up and down New York Street. Little clues that tell you it might not be current time. You could obviously change all the shop fronts. Everything here can change out. So what might have been a cell phone store in a current kind of episode becomes a record shop and something that's set back a little bit further. One of the things that we don't see a lot of nowadays are phone booths in a lot of modern cities, but we can put them all back up here if it's something that's supposed to be a couple of years ago and further back. In fact, I was just watching The Offer on Paramount Plus, a show all about the making of The Godfather and all the 1970s New York City scenes. We actually shot right here on New York Street, so it's really kind of cool to see how they decorated it. The reason we call this street New York Street, it often plays the Big Apple while it's on camera.
Hey everyone, welcome to New York! I got my start right here in New York on Saturday Night Live. This is actually my old neighborhood. Once got mugged over there by an old woman. Tough lady. This is my favorite hot dog guy. Hey buddy, how's it going? Remember me? No. Just like old times. Gotta love New York City. Hey, I'm walking here! I'm walking here! Hey, it's cool guys. I was just walking there. So it's not exactly New York, but a lot of times when you see New York in the movies, it was shot right here on the Universal Metro sets. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Even if you make it here on the Universal lot.
One of the things that we haven't done for a while, a little trick that we can do, it's called day for night shooting, and we can do it in a